This is Behind the Scenes Oklahoma.
Hey everyone, welcome to Behind the Scenes Oklahoma, the podcast where we spotlight the people and productions helping grow Oklahoma's film and television industry. I'm your host, Anna Berry. All right, it's really special to speak to our next guest. I'm very excited. An actress, writer, producer, Scout Taylor-Compton. And I have to give a little bit about your history. Your Hollywood debut in 13 going on 30. One of my favorites. Gilmore Girls, one of my favorites. Charmed and Halloween, just to name a few. Now she's stepping behind the camera with her newest project, Road to Recovery, which was shot right here in Oklahoma. So happy to have you as a guest today.
Man, what an amazing welcome. You're a pro. That's awesome. Thank you.
Well, yes, it takes one to know one. So I want to start, just give our viewers a little bit about yourself. You have such a great history. So a little overview about yourself, and then we'll jump into the movie.
Yeah, I started as a child actor, like you said. I started at 8 years old. I think it was my parents trying to figure out what to do with me because I had a lot of energy. And we went to like an open casting call, and I actually just wanted to meet Mario Lopez because I really love Saved by the Bell. And we were told that Mario Lopez was there. And so, they handed me like a script, and then I went in front of like 6 adults, and they're like, yeah, just read this little thing and then you can go meet Mario Lopez. And I read it, and then I booked an agent. And then I started working with Jay Leno for, I don't know, I worked on Jay's show for 3 years, and then, booked Gilmore Girls, and just kind of like paved the way. And I feel like it was just like a giant playground for me. And it's been a playground ever since. And I've been enjoying it. And now I'm sort of, as an actor, especially starting that young, you play people like, so your identity sort of kind of gets blurred. And, it feels like, in my 30s, stepping behind the camera, I feel like I'm finding my voice for the first time, which is bonkers. I feel like I'm very late to the game, but better late than never. So that's kind of like the transition that's happening. It just feels like I'm just sort of finding myself in this industry that I love so much. So yeah.
I love that. I just have to ask a side note question. Gilmore Girls set, what was that like? Where was it?
Yeah, we're actually, I'm right down the street from it, Warner Brothers lot, which, it has so much history, and they built the sets, like the houses and like the courtyard, like the town was built on the studio. So, whenever I got the call, I knew that I would be going to Warner Brothers, where some iconic movies were made. Obviously at that age, I was just like, but now looking back, I'm like, what an amazing experience to be able to be in that lot, and to be, with all those executives and those the crew members and the actors. It was just such a special set. I was so young, and I was just taking it all in, and I just was having such a blast, and everybody was so special and kind and nice. And, I've since then have seen them, me as like a woman, and, seeing them like, Milo or Scott or Jared, it's just so wild.
Well, for our viewers and listeners, Dean's sister. And I showed a picture to my daughter, and she knew exactly who you were.
Oh,
there's
amazing.
a lot of Gilmore Girl fans out there.
Funny, I was up for Jared's new show, Walker, a few years back, and it was to play his love interest. I was like, wow, wouldn't that have been funny?
So Hollywood.
So Hollywood. Remember when I played your little sister?
Right. So you're currently acting as well.
Yeah. You kind of have to wear so many creative hats, especially so you don't, this craft is so hard, especially to stay in. I feel like auditioning is my job. So I sort of created my own work, which sometimes you have to. So you're not just sitting around waiting.
I completely understand. Well, I'm going to keep digressing because it's so interesting, and I'm sure our viewers would be curious. Tell me about these auditions. Is it virtual still you're in LA, correct?
Well, I just had one right before this.
You look great.
Thank you. This is why I don't even think I wear sweaters like this. I was just like, I don't have time. I'll just get on. Yeah, there's not many in person auditions. Actually, there's none. There's no in-person auditions. It's all self-tapes, which is, they want us to light and direct
Girl, I know.
and direct our audition and present it. And, obviously I'm watching all of these other actors, their self-tapes and they're like, I got this job because I did this and this. And I look at it and I'm like, yeah, it's a movie. You
Mhm.
you literally put together a movie. I'm
Yeah.
like, it's just cutthroat, man. It's really cutthroat right now.
How do you find a good reader? That's what I always struggle with. Do you have someone you can call? Do you use that service that I've heard of and I've never tried? Or do
No.
you wrangle someone?
That's a talent to like find somebody to use that app that people use. I could never do that. My husband is also,
Okay,
he's a stuntman
there you go.
and he's also an actor and a producer. So he reads, or actually Ryan Kiera Armstrong, her father is a wonderful coach, a
Ooh,
wonderful coach. And I have been working with him since the movie and it's been very wonderful.
I can't wait to talk about her. She's just magnificent to watch. She
Yes,
seems
she is.
lovely. Well, let's talk about Road to Recovery. Tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about the story. You wrote it from personal experience?
Yeah, so I lost my mother to cancer a few years back, and I sort of spiraled into this really dark place. And as I was hitting this place, I sort of stumbled upon these TikTok videos actually of young adults that have cancer. And in these videos, they were wanting to be seen as more than just a kid with cancer. And then I started thinking about the movies like Faults in Our Stars and like 5 Feet Apart. And while I was watching these videos, I was like, man, their parents must be so proud. And
Hmm.
then I thought of the movies that we have, and I was like, well, where's that relationship in these movies? It's all about like love and, finding their first love. And I was more interested, especially with what I was dealing with. I was wanting to know about the parent and the child relationship. And so I wrote it. And it was just a way of me to sort of handle my grief. I'm a young kid at heart. So it was just easier for me to sort of navigate into like a YA perspective. And the script wrote itself pretty fast. Like it was the fastest thing that I've ever written in my life. And I showed it to Brian and her dad, and they called me pretty quickly and they were emotional about it and they hopped on board. And it just like the whole thing just happened super fast, but it was meant to happen fast.
I love that. I've never heard that from a writer.
Yeah.
I've heard 12 years.
Yeah.
you know, just pounding the pavement with this. And I love that this almost felt kismet, like meant to
Mhm.
be. So
Mhm.
break that down for me. I kind of like, I want to be a fly on the wall. So
Yeah.
are you like Carrie Bradshaw? You just open up your laptop and you start writing? What was the process of your writing it?
Yeah, well, I knew that I wanted to do a road trip movie. I've been so attracted to road trip movies since Thelma and Louise and like Little Miss Sunshine. I feel like so much growth and so much storytelling happens. And so that's where I narrowed it down. I was like, okay, it's a father-daughter story. There's this horrible thing that's happening, but there is obviously this growth that needs to happen, and they're both on these different journeys. And I was like, journey. Okay. Road trip. So I just like sort of brainstormed. And once I just had like a core idea, I just started writing it from beginning to end, which never happens. I mean, I'm constantly writing scripts. I have a few that I'm developing this year, and that is never the case. I'm always like, okay, what's the mid? I got the middle. Okay, I've got the end. I don't know the beginning, So it was just it just happened. And I don't know if it'll ever happen to me again. But I think also too, where the place I was at with needing to heal myself, I think it just all blended together and just worked that way.
Well, they say when it's meant to happen, it will happen and it
Yeah.
will despite all odds. Okay,
Hmm.
so what's next? So you write the script, you get it to Ryan. And do I say Ryan or Ryan? How do I say? Just Ryan?
Ryan. Yeah, Ryan. Yeah.
You get it to Ryan. She and her father like it. Then what?
Then, you have to go find the money.
That part.
Yeah, you gotta go find the money. And luckily, I had just worked with a couple of people that are really close friends of mine. And she's actually, this woman, Michelle, she's actually somebody that I have become very close friends with. And I would sort of send her my scripts just as a friend, just to be like, what do you think of this? Like, do you think this is great? And I sent this to her, and she was like losing it. And she's like, this is amazing. And we had already had somebody prior interested in it, but they were just dragging their feet. And I knew A, because of Ryan's schedule, that this needed to happen now. She's about to do Buffy. And so I just presented it to them, and I was like, is this something that you guys would want to do? And they were like, yes, we didn't even know that this was. And so, like I said, it never happens that way, but for some reason, this project is so special and it's resonating with so many people. I mean, cancer is universal, right? Like somebody either has dealt with it or knows somebody close. So it's it hits everybody. So we just got lucky. And then I knew Randy and Talia. I was trying to figure out where I wanted to shoot it. And obviously, our budget was small, and I wanted to make sure that the most of the budget went on screen and not spent, like LA is so expensive. And, for it being the place of dreams for this industry, they definitely don't make it easy for us to film out here. And I had just directed a movie out here, and it was just a complete nightmare. So I remembered my experience shooting a movie in Tulsa during COVID. And COVID was such a dark time for everybody, but that set was so uplifting, and the crews and everybody coming together, it just felt so powerful. And I just remember that feeling. And as I was starting this next journey, this next chapter of myself, I just wanted to continue working with people that made me feel like that. And so I approached them, and I was like, is this something that you got? And they were like, yes. So it just happened.
So what was the movie you were making in Tulsa during COVID?
It was called Model House.
Oh, yeah.
And I was an actor. I was an actor in the movie. And, I've known Randy for a very, very long time, and I've known his wife as well. And I just think it's really incredible what they've built out there.
I think, wasn't there a funny little story how you and Randy met? Was it just Model House, or was
No,
it
we've met before.
He was back in LA?
Back in LA, back when he was mostly an actor, and
Okay.
I'm sure lots of nightlifes in LA parties and all of that.
Yeah, when I was on set for Road to Recovery doing the video episode of this, I feel like he said something like, maybe it was more like, yeah, Scout and I go way back to LA. And then when she chose Oklahoma, I mean, that was a really big deal. So you did Model House as an actress.
Mhm.
And then when you were considering coming to Oklahoma to film, what was that process like? Did you obviously apply for the rebates and everything, the incentives and everything?
Yeah, I mean, that was obviously a massive decision of why we went with Tulsa. I mean, Tulsa and Oklahoma have done something really smart, with their tax incentives programs. I don't know, because it genuinely makes independent filmmaking possible at a higher level, which is a struggle right now. I feel like independent filmmaking is dying because of that. And as a director, it gives you the ability to put more of the budget into the screen, and instead of like losing it in the overhead. So it was a really massive decision to go that direction because of that.
I know some of our incentives are stackable. Did you stack them, or did you just get the Tulsa or the Oklahoma?
Oh, we just got the Tulsa.
Okay.
I was kind of shocked. I mean, I've been an actor. So now stepping behind and learning, as a producer as well. I mean, Tulsa provides so much, even with like music. Like if you use music, like there's just so many elements to it. And so I really learned on this movie. Yeah.
Good. Tell us more. Tell us more. Give us more praise because we want more people like you to come here and bring your work
Yeah.
and use our cast and crew in our beautiful states.
It's
I know.
it's also not just the tax incentives. I have to say, just the people in general in Tulsa are so inviting. I mean, I went out and scouted and I had such a lovely time. Every location that we went to, everybody was so eager to have us be a part or bring the movie to their location. And, they were equally wanting to learn what we were doing. Like it just seemed like a family and just friendly and just inviting, which is something that, filmmaking is a community. And I think we lose that, especially when you get, this greediness that comes into play. And Tulsa doesn't have that, man. They don't have it. And it's so nice and rewarding and shocking. It's so shocking, especially like the price tag. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I've said like a couple of times to a few locations, I'm like, man, you don't understand what this would be in LA. You don't
Oh,
understand. They would make it so I wouldn't be able to film here. And even, the hospital, like we filmed at one of the major hospitals in Tulsa and they were so accommodating to us. And I kept, speaking to the woman going, no, we are like in your space. So you let us know what we can and cannot do. Like, don't bend to us. Like what you're doing is so important,
how did that work filming in the hospital? Did you section off a few rooms? Was it a floor?
Yeah, so we got like sort of free range of the hospital, but obviously we were only allowed to shoot at certain times in certain areas just so we wouldn't disturb the patients. We definitely in the intimate sections of the hospital, we filmed on the weekends closer to off hours. So we were kind of like passing patients as we were like arriving. So it was much a timing thing. And then we had like 4 to 5 workers there, sort of escorting, and they were kind of moving traffic through the hospital so it didn't like sort of intervene. It was a lot of work on their part and I'm super appreciative of it because it just made the movie so much better and so much more than I thought it could be.
And so you shot in Tulsa, Owasso, and Sapulpa,
Yeah,
correct?
we were all over. Yes, we were all over. And equally, I mean, everybody was super supportive in all those locations.
And so when I think of a road trip, I think of a soundtrack, right? Playing in the car.
Mhm.
How are you using some local music for that?
Yeah, we are that's what I'm doing right now. I'm sort of looking through the playlist of Oklahoma bands and singers and sort of selecting my music now that sort of have a rough cut of Road to Recovery. Now I'm sort of getting into the music. We did have a local band come out and I'm so sorry. I'm like blanking on
Jacob
their
Tovar. I saw
Yes.
him on stage. He was
Yes.
mouthing it because we were there that day when you were at Torchy's, and he's, because I don't know what you guys were doing, but it was
Yeah.
great. But he's an icon.
That happened like very last minute. They sent me his music and I selected a couple of songs and then I just asked. I was like, "Hey, would the band want to like come and like sit on stage and perform because I would love to showcase it." And we also like I feel like my DP and I shot a music video for them because we
It looked
did
great.
like yeah, like it is like we got a music video for you guys if you want it.
I mean, what a great location, Torchy's, and we obviously you
Oh
got to
my
meet
God,
Torchy
Torchies.
yourself, and I got to meet her too. I had no idea. What a fascinating woman and a story, and the
Have you
perfect
been to Torchy's
terrain.
house?
I have not.
Well, you have to go to Torchy's house. That was the only Torchy's so funny. Speaking of, Freddie just texted.
Freddie.
Torchy is so amazing. She wouldn't sign the contract until I came and met her and went to her house and heard her stories. And I'm so glad I did because I told her, I said, Torchy, I want to write a movie about your life. I was
Yes.
like, you're like a cat. You have lived 9 lives.
Yes, she told me a glimpse of it. And yes, write a story about her because the characters like that, they're rare.
Yes, very rare.
Rare.
She's great, and her place was really special. So It was cool.
Well, you mentioned Freddie just texted
Yes.
you. So talk about Freddie Prinze Jr. So many people my age and early 40s know who he is. He was
Mhm.
my generation. How did you get him the script? What did he think about it? And what did he think about filming in Oklahoma?
Freddie was a nice surprise. Freddie was dropped to me by Ryan and her dad. Obviously they just worked with Sarah and we were trying to cast this dad, and it was super important to me that I got the dad right. I knew what Ryan was able to do. And when Freddie was kind of brought up to me, there's a young heart to Freddie if you've obviously seen his work. There's just like this young spirit, and that was super important to me for this dad because it's so heavy. I needed somebody to not take life too seriously, just to have that sort of energy. And I also knew that this was something that he hasn't done before, this heavy of a role, so I knew that it would be a really good opportunity for him. I really love giving actors an opportunity to prove that they can do,
It's all I
acting,
want.
that they
Wow.
can act, that they can do acting. It's called acting. And I'm so glad that I went this direction because it's sometimes when I watch the movie, I'm like, this isn't Freddie. Because we know who he is. I'm like, this is so beyond him, and it's so powerful. And it's so different, and I'm so proud of him for going the distance with this, and I know it was really hard on him. And he had a really great time filming in Tulsa. Unfortunately, he was very in his character and
Totally.
really sitting with it. So I don't think we were able to explore too much of Tulsa, but we went to a few nice restaurants, and yeah, Tulsa has a vibe and a history that you feel no matter what.
Oh, it does. It really does. Yeah, we tried to get an interview with him, but at the same time, as an actress myself, I completely understand with a role with those emotional demands, you don't want to
Yeah.
talk to anyone to get you out of character and might even take a while to shake it off. So, full respect for that. So,
Mhm.
Ryan Kiera Armstrong, that's a fun serendipity that she was just in the lowdown. I mean,
Yes.
wow. So she has now multiple ties to Oklahoma. It's just
Mhm.
6 degrees of Kevin
Mhm.
Bacon right here
Yeah.
in Tulsa. How old is she?
She's 15. She just
God,
turned 15.
what an old soul. I mean, I love
15 going on 30.
right? She is it. So what was that like working with her as the lead and having to kind of coach her through what she had to go through?
No coaching needed. That woman, child, young adult, she is so beyond her years, and I would catch myself just watching her. Yes, she's so creative and so just knew who this character was, and so it was just a collaboration working together and, trusting each other, and she's amazing in it. Really, honestly, when people watch it, it kinda seems like Ryan is the adult and Freddie is the kiddo, and they're both in this weird stage, and, yeah, they just sort of, like, grew together while we filmed this movie, and it was so, so beautiful, and I get emotional just talking about it because, it just meant so much to me.
How much of the crew was Oklahoma crew?
All of them except for my DP and a couple of my producers.
Cool. Well,
So the
thank you
whole
for that.
shebang. Yeah, the whole shebang was from Tulsa, and a lot of them were from Lowdown.
Yeah.
So it was like a reunion of sorts, and now they're about to go shoot the next season.
Well, I'm sure you've heard it, but it's Smolsa.
Yeah, Smallsa. Yeah.
So where are you now with the movie and what's next?
So, we're polishing it up. I'm into the music right now, and, post-production is still in full swing, and I want to, we have a few people circling for distribution, but I really want to. I was just talking to Freddie yesterday, and he's so funny. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to support you with this and everything." And I don't know, just to hear that from somebody that you've admired for so long, but I keep telling him, I'm like, no, you guys, like, this needs to go to festivals because you guys need to win awards because you guys deserve it. I have done such a wonderful job in this movie. And I'm like, no one has seen you like this. No one has seen her like this. It's just so remarkable. I just want to like showcase it as best as I can for you guys. But yeah, I'm really excited to explore the possibility of, all the distribution options and yeah, see where it goes.
Well, good. Please let us know how we can support it in Oklahoma. I'm assuming there's going to be a premiere and there's going to be lots of ways for us to support it, watch it, and tell people about it. I know it seemed to come together really well. So,
Mhm.
with that, with your truth and your story, what advice do you have for other writers and directors out there who are trying to make an independent film like you did?
Don't give up on yourself, especially when it seems like the road is just full of things getting in your way. It can be easy to sort of give up. I was sort of in that place when I wrote this, and it just shows you when you believe in yourself and you write something for yourself to do. I give that advice, especially actors that are just now starting. They're like, what do I do? And I'm like, write something for yourself. Go do it for yourself, whether it's a short or a full feature, or no matter what it is. Now that seems a lot more of that is happening, which I think is really exciting. But yeah, that would be my big advice, is to just not give up on your dream.
I want everyone to hear that. Do not give up on your dream. That living proof that I think if you keep knocking, the door will open.
Yeah, you'll meet people, you'll meet people that can help you. And I think reaching out to a community that does the same thing that you do, everything just aligns. It will align eventually.
So might you come back to Oklahoma for another film?
Oh yeah. I'll be back to
Or
Tulsa.
three? Okay.
Yeah.
Three
I'll
is
be
the
back.
charm. Wonderful. Well, we thank you for your time. Please keep us posted on how we can support the premiere and the theatrical debut of Road to Recovery. We appreciate you joining us on Behind the Scenes Oklahoma.
Thank you so much for having me.